Shalom, Vracha. I receive a question quite often, and it goes a bit like this. What kind of Jew are you? You've got a Ashkenazi last name, but you work for, the Sephardic yeshiva system, and you're also involved with Ashkenazi kashrut. You're not too mystical, and you're trying not to be overtly rational. And the response that I've formulated for this answer is that I'm a Toyota Jew. Maybe I'm a Lamborghini Jew. Maybe I'm a Nike Jew or an Adidas Jew or a Fender Jew or any of the other brands that we associate with products. Unfortunately, in the last few decades, Judaism has become incredibly brand focused. And I think if more people are honest, the reason that they're part of these brands is simply because they fell into them, especially when it comes to Bali Tshuva, like myself or Gerim. They became attached to a certain group, they made friends and made connections within that group, and that's where they stayed. The idea that people are actively pursuing or choosing their hashkafot for themselves is largely untrue. It happens to be that most of us don't study these different hashkafot in terms of Musar and Hasidut and Litvak and Sephardic philosophy before we make this decision. We tend to get into it, and then afterwards we say that's what we believe in, because we're creatures of habit, we're creatures of community, and we like to feel that we belong and that we have a place somewhere and that we are part of something bigger than ourselves. The truth is that actually there are no brands. There are actually just individuals trying to connect with their creator through the mechanism of their Torah. Arguably, the book that we should all be studying is not Hasidut or Musar or any of these things, but actually the Tanakh, which is unfortunately not studied in the majority of yeshivot around the world as a primary subject. It happens to be that behind the mask of all these different groups and ideologies and things like that is actually a very core basis. The Tanakh, Halacha, and personal prayer, working on developing oneself and one's relationship with family, community, and of course Hashem. The idea that these brands exist is unfortunate because it ends up being very divisive. It ends up being that it's my brand versus your brand. Which brand of car do you prefer? What's a luxury brand and what's not a luxury brand? The human spirit cannot be contained in these masks of perception any longer. We have to move beyond the brand. We have to move back to the understanding that there is one people. It's true, there are different tribes and there are different styles of how to express a halakhic reality. But that doesn't make them better or worse. It doesn't make them anything other than different. I think that in the majority of the conversations I have with people, especially privately, they say to me, I wish I was able to express myself, my unique self, a little bit more. Do I need to wear the same clothes and to do the same thing and to have a life that looks identical to everybody else's? Why is it that we are not allowed to study this book? Or why is it that we're pushed to study that? They're good questions. And in order to answer them, you have to have the courage to say, Ani, I am. It's that simple. You don't need to provide an excuse for why you are the way you are. You don't need to put a label on the condition that prevents you from achieving anything that you want to achieve. It happens to be, the fact of the matter is that your Father in heaven loves you. He loves you and he wants you to achieve whatever it is you want to achieve. He wants you to have your life. And it's entirely possible to do everything that you want to do in a halakhic and kosher way. The only thing preventing us is ourselves, our fear of not belonging, of not being normal, whatever that means. I hope that this message reaches you and helps you to think about something beyond what it means to be part of a cult or part of a system or part of an organization. Being you, being true to who you are, being true to what you believe, being on the path to discover what it is you believe, on a path to being closer to your friends, closer to your family, closer to the people around you. It should be with bracha, it should be with blessing that we're able to remove these garments of exile and finally to redeem ourselves with the garments of geula, to connect with Hashem, to connect with halacha, with Torah, to develop ourselves and become the best people we're able to be. A focus of being better than we were yesterday and understanding that human potential is untapped. Regardless of what that means to me, it's time to really consider what it means to you. Have a great day and lots of bracha.